Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Closing Comments here on April 10th. Continuing to see prices bounce back and forth as these markets remain volatile. So let's dive into the charts here and see what happened today. Live cattle on the board. Today we saw live cattle lose some ground, closing back below the 50-day average. However, we stayed inside the prior day's range. Not really closing or losing any major levels here at the moment. We're just seeing this volatility continue to bounce around as price tries to find some support. We do see here on our lower time frame that we have a pretty equal volume distribution this week between the $1.92 and $1.99 range we've traded in. This is a pretty good sign saying that price is balancing out here. We're not getting too heavy here at the moment. Would expect to see these range lows between 92 and 94 hold and push prices back up tomorrow. Bulls need to see a close above the 50-day average and potentially $1.98 to put them into the bullish territory for next week and offer some momentum to take us higher in the near term. So look for those range lows to hold tomorrow and find support. If not, if things start getting slippery below $1.92, we could see another wave of selling step in. However, I would expect to see this wide range we traded in all week continue to hold. Feeders also saw some downside today, losing the 50-day average. However, it did stay above 275, which is a good level to hold. Also seeing a pretty equal distribution here between 270 and 280. We did see good support step in late at the day around 275, so that's a good sign for the bulls going into the end of the week. I would like to see it close back up near 280 and potentially above to send some momentum into next week and potentially start the next leg higher in this uptrend. Corn market saw continued upside today as well. Saw prices push above 477 to 480, which is the area we're kind of keeping an eye on for resistance this week. So a nice close above that will keep pushing this market higher. Did have a WASD report today that created some volatility around 10 o'clock Mountain Time, pushing us above that 477.5 level and getting a nice strong close for the day. Expect the bulls to keep pushing this market higher and that volatility should remain. We are, like I said yesterday, getting close to rolling into this July contract, so be aware of that going into next week. Next up, we got our crude market. Crude lost about half of what it gained on the prior day, closing down below 60. Getting down below 60 again. We did see prices fail below 62.32, which is our bear pivot for the week. Any selling below that level should see continued weakness. Would expect this market to keep trading in these wide volatile ranges. A little more upside, we could see this thing continue to pull back up into the mid-60s. I'd like to see resistance come in up here for the next leg lower as this market remains in a downtrend. Last up, we got our equity markets. The S&P 500 lost some ground today, trading in another wide range. Prices pushed up on the 10% gainer day right into the 20-day average and this prior low from the middle of March, where resistance is expected to step in at that 5,500 level. We did see that bounce lower, but close about in the middle of the range for the day. Would expect to see wide ranges here and messy action. It's tough to say, but I do think the lows for the week are in. Doesn't mean that new lows can't come next week, but as far as tomorrow's action goes, I'd expect to see prices trade in this about 500 to 600 point range we have been in for the past few days. Nasdaq and the Dow seeing similar action today, losing ground and resistance off the 20-day averages. Just expect to see continued volatility here in this market as it remains very headline driven, and we have a lot of work to do to recover this thing and get some of those underlying components, charts cleaned up to get us into a new uptrend. So that volatility should remain and stay defensive in the equity markets. That's all we got tonight, guys. Thanks for listening.